Testing, testing. It's on. Hello, hello. Testing the sound. Testing the streaming. Hi.
We're calling up cousins.
Yes, and they're gonna go like in this area. And it was gonna be younger cousins, but then there's two of them that are not younger and that they want to include, so it's just cousins.
That's really funny. It is a little funny. I'm okay. How are you? Yeah, right. No, I'm doing okay. Thanks. Good to see you. Test, test, test. Test. Test, test, test. Hey, Mike, do you hear this? Do you hear this? Do you hear? You do? Okay, good.
I was thinking that I hadn't seen that yet.
Very little. Now you can hear me though. Okay. Okay, Andrew, how's this? I'm talking and I'm talking. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. How's this? We're testing. That's a little loud. Testing, testing. Is that a little better? Yeah, they're saying it's a little bit better. Yeah, that's okay. Holly? Good. All right.
Testing. Hi, how's mine? Hello. Testing, testing. La 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 la. Talk.
Testing. This is the standing mic. Testing. This is the standing mic. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Come on in and join us in our tent. For our friends who are online, we're going to wait just a minute because we have a bunch of folks who are just getting their prayer books and coming into our tent.
Like Disney World, there's a line for us.
Right. Well. We're all good.
You never have to apologize for hugs.
For sure. Wonderful. Well, everyone, Shabbat Shalom. It's good to see everyone. Oh, good. Do, 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 do. Lovely. Well, friends, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi
Oh,
Green.
they are so talking. Let's try it again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, good. That sounds like camp. Ooh, we're a little loud. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah. We are going to begin our service. We're glad that you all are here. Welcome to our tent. And it's good to see you. It's good to see families coming together. It's good to see folks from our congregation coming back and reaching back to one another and into this tent. We hope that as you entered into the sanctuary, you picked up one of our prayer books and one of those little handouts. The handout we're going to use a little bit later. It has some melodies, some words and lyrics for some of our melodies later on. But if you have picked up our prayer book, we're going to begin with our service. And for some of us, there's a thinner prayer book. It's a little bit lighter for some of us, and it'll say Shabbat on the spine. So if your book says Shabbat on the spine, it's a little thinner, or if you have a large print prayer book also saying Shabbat on the spine, you will see that there are two different page numbers. You folks will be following the page number in blue brackets. If you have a nice, thick, heavy book, you need the exercise. It'll be good for you. You're in Boulder. Everybody has to lift something heavy. And you'll have only one page number, so it'll be easier to follow along. We're going to begin again, page 642. 642 at the very bottom of the page.
Ele Chamda Libi. We ask God and ourselves to appear, not to hide. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Let's do that again. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Should have from the beginning. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Chusana ve'al nati taleh. Ele Chamda Libi. Ele Chamda Libi.
Wonderful. We're going to turn all the way back to the very beginning of the Siddur, page 120, And we are going to bring another kind of light into this space, God's light, a strong light, a light that brings comfort and strength. So as we move into Shabbat together, two amazing families, the Carols and the Zapins, we're going to have some of you come forward. So Paulina and Cecil, Gita and Jeff, Marnie, Josh, Avery, and Elijah. Did I get everyone? Oh, boy. So come forward right over here to our candles. We are on page 120.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's so nice. They're sharing.
Beautiful. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. You have to give each other hugs. You too. Wonderful. Friends, we're going to invite you to rise. If you are able, we're going to turn the page, continue with our Kiddush, our Kiddush, page 123. Paulina and Elijah are going to be leading us. They're each going to have their Siddur and take a Kiddush cup. And again, we're on 123. And all of the cousins I hear are going to come and give some support. So come and stand right here up front with us.
Parade of cousins. You're going to stand right in front. Can you stand right in front? Thank you so much.
So that they can.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Borei Puri Hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikavro lema'aseh v'reshit Ki hu yom tehillah lemikraye kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim givanu b'chatav v'tanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha B'ahava Ratzon V'nhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Good. You can go back to your spots. There you go. Thanks for coming up, cousins. You may be seated. You want to do a psalm? Sure. You can call it. You can continue at the bottom with us, at bottom of page 132. Or Zarua la Tzadik ul Yisrei Lev Simcha.
Zaru ala tzadik ul yishrei lev simcha. Zaru ala tzadik, Yishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, b'Adonai, v'hodu l'zecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu l'zecher kodsho. Zaru ala tzadik, Yishrei lev simcha. Zaru ala tzadik, Yishrei lev simcha.
Let's turn again. Page 138 and 139, the prayer for entering Shabbat that the mystics of old have given to us. We're going to continue with the first 5 stanzas. After the 5th one, we jump to the very last one. And at that point, we invite you to rise. If you're able, you can welcome the Sabbath bride into our tent, and we move into Shabbat together. 138.
Ya lai la lai 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 la lai, ya lai la 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 lai, ya lai la lai 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 la lai, ya lai la 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 lai, ya lai la lai 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 la lai, ya lai la 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 lai, ya lai la lai 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 la lai, ya lai la 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 lai. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad, Shmo echad. L'Shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor ha'beracha merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'makshavat chila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, u'mitzei mitocha hafecha rav lach shevet b'emek habacha. Vehu yachamol alayechema. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yalalalai lecha dodi, Yalalalai likrat kala, Yalalalai B'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabe, Yalalalai lecha dodi, Yalalalai likrat kala, Yalalalai B'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Idnari me'afar kumi, Shibigdei tifartecha mi, Al yad ben Yishai Beit halachmi. קורבה אל נפשי גאלה. יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלות, יאללה פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלות, יאללה פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלות, יאללה פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלות, יאללה פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וסהולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלות, יאללה פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. יאללה לך דודי, יאללה לקראת קלות, יאללה פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל.
And return to your seats. 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharetz, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharetz, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharetz, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Seidchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Let's turn to page 144.
Yitgadal ve'yitgadal shemei Rabba,
Amen.
Ba'alma divrach hirute, ve'amlich malchute, b'chayechon u'vyomechon, u'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala, ובזמן קריב ואימרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ואימרו אמן.
We turn the page.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
We'll remain standing and invite you to look into this pamphlet. If you open it all the way up, you'll see all the way to the right some melodies. Open up our eyes. Will be on the far right on the inside of our handout.
This is a meditation before Shabbat. We'll continue right after that into the Shema on 152 in your prayer book. Open up our eyes. Teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes. Teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
May be seated. We turn 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Let's read together in 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We turn the page.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, o sefer. Nora tehilot, o sefer. Adonai, imloch le'olam va'ed. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei hayam mivnei Moshe. Ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'amru. Adonai, imloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh.
Let's turn again. 160.
These words incorporate words on the left-hand side of the page, 161, and the beginning of Hashkivenu on 160. We ask that there be love and understanding among us. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Vehamidenu, Shomrenu Lechayim. Ufros aleinu, Sukat Shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We turn the page again. We celebrate Shabbat together. Page 162.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat v'navash, shavat v'navash, shavat v'navash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
We ask you to rise if you are able. Let's move into the tefillah together. We'll turn the page and continue on 164 and the pages to follow.
Lai, 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 Adonai. Lai, 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 Sefatai Tiftach. Lai, 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 Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Lai, 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 Adonai. Yai la 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 sefatai tiftach. Yai la 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 ufi Ufi yagid tehilatecha Yahalai lai 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 Adonai Yahalai lai lai Sefat taititoch Yahalai lai lai Ufi yagid Ufi yagid tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Omer chasadim tovim v'konei hakol v'zocher chastei ha'avot v'imahot u'mevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem leman shemo b'ahava melech ozer u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ve'Rad Sarah atah gibor leolam Adonai Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia morid hatal Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim Samech noblim verofei cholim Umatir asirim Umekayim emunato lishenei afar Michamocha ba'al gevurot Umito meloch melech memit Umechaya umatzmiach Yeshua B'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye hakol Atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh Ugdoshim b'chol yom Yahalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el hakadosh.
Let's be seated. And we can read together in 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. On 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, and when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers, and there may we find you. And there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, shotcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. 178.
Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol etz v'chol shah Bishlomecha. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Let's take some time for our own personal and private prayer. You can follow in the Siddur if you choose, 179 through 181. You can find a reading to reflect upon, a prayer to look at, or just take some time, have some quiet, and take some deep breaths. Enjoy the laughter that surrounds us from little ones in the space. And let's take some time for our own personal prayer and reflection.
Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen.
After our prayer for peace, we always move toward a prayer for wholeness and for healing. If you wanted to take a look again at the inside of this little handout, you see a list of many names, folks that are connected to our community, those names that have been shared with us. And we think about them. We send our love and strength to them, to be sure. But we also give you a chance to share the name out loud of someone who could use a prayer of healing and strength and hope from us. So if you would like to, if you would choose to share a name, you can just call them all out. For those names that we shared out loud, those that we kind of kept inside, those on the page, those in these different cities facing such terrible traumas after acts of gun violence. We send strength and hope and our prayers for healing of body and of soul. You can find the words for our Mishaberach for this Shabbat right over here, again, on the inside of that little handout. And when you see El Na Refana Lad at the very bottom, we know those are words that Moses cried out. It wasn't a prayer that anybody wrote. It was just a prayer from his heart when his sister was ill. And so this melody, this setting is of the same sort, a prayer from the heart. And we can say El Na Refana La, to ask God to please God heal her. El Na Refana Lo, him. El Na Refana Lanu, us. And you can pick whichever one you want. It doesn't have to match us. In fact, I think we're giving you permission not to match us. So go where you need to.
Repeat after me. Mishaberach Avotenu Makor HaChaim Ve'imotenu Hu Yivarech Ve'yiraveh Et HaCholim Together El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana Lanu El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana La El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana Lanu Mishaberach Avotenu Makor HaChaim Ve'imotenu Hu Yivarech Ve'yiraveh Et HaCholim El Na Refana La El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana La El Na Refana Lanu El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana La El Na Refana Lo El Na Refana Lanu.
And even when we have these prayers for wholeness, there's still other kinds of wholeness that we get to experience. It's not just the hurt that we might see, but we also and experience ourselves. But sometimes there's a simcha about to happen. Sometimes there's a celebration, a joy that we get to experience. And we have two couples that I'm going to invite up. Wayne and Jane, I saw before. There you are. I'm going to have you guys come forward. Otto and Daisy, I'm going to have you folks come forward. Hi, everyone. Come hang out over here with us. It's good to see you. You want to, wherever you want to stand. Are you okay? We're good? All right. They're already married. But there's something there's something that is happening in all of your lives that I think is really kind of extraordinary. For one couple, there's a child who is getting married in minutes. Really, all right, a week or so. So, and and while we couldn't have them because of, they live further away and all of this, I was talking with you, Daisy, and I was like, we don't always have like a blessing for parents who are getting married. And she said to me, and I love that you did, well, I think you should. And I said, I think you're right. And for the two of you, this is something you've been working on for 50 years now, a 50th anniversary. And so we get to celebrate two couples and two families, far beyond just the two of you, each of you. There's family, there's love, there's community, there is friendship. These are families that are involved and connected into Jewish life, and who all of you know what it's like to experience real hurt. And we all also know what it is to have incredible joy. For children to be able to move forward and find love and build family and have their own experience, what a sweetness, what a joy, and what a blessing for you. And for the two of you to be able to say 50 years, how beautiful. Not all easy, I'm sure. Why are you laughing? But we all know it's not easy, but it's good and it matters. And for you to stand here and to wish you well as your son and family continue to expand, well, for us, our hearts are full. I think of a couple getting married, and there's this teaching from the Baal Shem Tov. Oh, I should have saved it for you. But for the teaching from the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, where everybody has a light, a bright light that is deep embedded into us that comes from God. And when two individuals come together, there is a brighter light that shines, and that is our greatest hope for your next generation. And also for the two of you, we ask that the source of love and laughter and strength be present as God has always been for you and for those that you love. We hope that God pours love into your home and with your family, granting you good health, continued strength, lots of love and learning, laughter and joy, and may they certainly outweigh any sorrows. We are excited to be able to celebrate in a little tiny way this 50th celebration, and we're excited to recognize your family's joys and love. And so for all of you, we share a blessing. Would you rise?
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God look kindly upon you and every day accompany you and those who love you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
And may God reach out to you with tenderness and give you a sense of shalom, peace, shlemut, wholeness today and every day, so that you can bring that shalom out into your families and into the world every day. And to each of you, Mazal Tov.
Can you hear what's on?
All right. Thank you, thank you. You can be seated. Thank you, friends, for being with us. That's nice. You know, we're into the Torah portion for Bamidbar, and we're moving into the book of Numbers. And it is a new book, it's a new chapter, it's a new beginning. We know that the Israelites have already been out of Egypt for more than a year. And in the beginning of this book of Numbers, in Bamidbar, our ancient ancestors are getting organized like an army because they need to know who's there. And they're going to put up flags and banners, and people are going to stand by them, and they're going to do some marching. During Micha Mocha, I saw some of the kids marching. It was very nice with their dad or somebody. And that's the beginning of this Bamidbar story, this Bamidbar journey. But there's something in the text that gives me some pause. And the line is in the second chapter. It says that God spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, the Israelites shall camp each with their own standard under the banners of their ancestral house, and they shall camp around the tent of meeting. So again, I'm feeling like this very militaristic organizing principle of how they're going to be journeying. And there's a lot of them, so it makes sense. I have no problem with that. Put a pin in that. I'll come back to it, probably. Do you know what the fastest growing religious group in the United States is? Nuns. Not nuns like from the Catholic Church. Nuns, N-O-N-E. People who are saying, I'm not a part of anything, and I don't need it. Some of them are going to say about themselves that they're atheists or agnostics. Some are going to say, I'm spiritual but not religious. Have we heard that before? Of course you have, you're in Boulder. Spiritual but not religious. And you have these nuns that are the fastest growing group who feel like religion, texts, it's too much, or perhaps they've seen hypocrisy, or they've been let down, or they've been wounded. And so a lot of folks in our country, there are more folks for the first time in the last few years who have no religious connection whatsoever, rather than with a religious connection. First time ever. And it's an interesting thing. It's interesting to me. I think the new rabbi 20 some odd years ago was saying, oh, we need to go and fix, not so much. I get it. I get it. The interesting thing about a lot of these nuns that if they are coming from a Jewish household, they still might not want the religious text or ritual aspects of things, but there's still this connection to identity. We have an identity piece to us. At least that's what sociologists are going to talk about. I think it's more than identity. I think there's something else that's there. It's more connected to memory than it is to identity. Identity could be anything, and we have more than one identity. We have lots of identities. And the identities that we have, I think, are going to be important to us based on what we experience, what we encounter, who else is with us, or how somebody has treated us. I think there's a lot of folks who have let go of religion or faith or something like that because we've seen a lot of hurt. We've seen a lot of people who have been let down, and it hurts to witness that. And for me, I'm trying to figure out, how do we tend to those wounds? How can we recognize all of the different identities that we actually have? And there's a lot, and some of them kind of compete for attention. And being Jewish outside of New York, where I grew up, is a whole lot harder to kind of embrace, engage, connect, feel connected. You have to really make an effort. And it's easy just to let it slide because I still have a carpool and I still have to pay a bill, and I could do that on my phone while I'm driving. Don't do that. And, whatever it is, we have all of these pushes and pulls. But those nuns who still want to capture a piece of Jewish identity, I'm delighted. And I think that's great. And I think there's something within different faith traditions that can keep us grounded. But now I want to get back to this militaristic kind of business and let go of the military. There's this line, the Israelites shall camp, each with their standard, under these banners, flags, if you will, of their ancestral house, and they shall camp around the tent of meeting. And the tent of meeting is sort of like the ancient Israelites' version of the synagogue, but it was portable. You take it with you. They didn't build the temple in Jerusalem yet. They're not in the land of Israel yet. They're still journeying, and so they have to schlep this tabernacle, this portable temple, from one spot to the next. And it was like a tent. It wasn't like a tent, it was a tent. Which is kind of why I'm digging this thing. So each under their own standard, each with their banners and flags of the ancestral house, and all of them are going to camp around the tent. Some might be able to say, when it says that each of us are going to be under our own standard, well, that's the identity of me. We need our own identities. And I think there's a lot of us, either because we're Jewish, or maybe a person of color, or maybe because, we're gay, or trans, or disabled, or whatever it is, we have seen people have said, your identity, you're not really welcome here. And I think this text is telling me, and I'm sharing with you, we have identities that we can lift up, and they're important. They matter. But it's not just my identity. There's another kind of part that I'm connected to. An ancestral home, it says. You have to be under the ancestral home. So maybe that's families. Maybe that's the families we might choose or the families that we're born into. Sometimes that's complicated, I know that. But there are certainly ways that we feel deeply connected to a small group of people, and they are our, if I was going to imitate my parents, mishpacha, right? My family. So I have my identity. I have a family circle. And then everybody camps around the tent of meeting. I believe in the power of community, not just because of my business. I really believe in the power of community, especially because we have been trained to be so independent, it's become lonely for a lot of us. And how can we connect? How can we find a way to build something, an encounter with another person? I don't think it's easy, by the way. I actually think it's super hard. And it's really hard because real relationships come when we are vulnerable, which in America, we're told that's not a good thing to be vulnerable. But this text, when they're getting ready to organize in case something happens, they're saying, no matter what's going to happen in the future, we have these three kinds of identity that can keep us grounded. Mine, me, self. my family, my mishpacha, the people that I am in cahoots with, and some other source of community. I'm not talking about membership. I'm talking about belonging. Can we figure out for ourselves how do we play out those three types of identity? I'm not saying you have to join my synagogue. That's not what we're saying. What we are saying is we all need a place to belong, because what's going to happen to these Israelites in the future is going to be hard. It's not easy to get to the promised land, and they're going to need the grounding of all three parts of identity in order to get there in one piece. So I feel, for me, just me, I feel I have to be a little bit more kind and gentle to myself and where I fit into the world. I have to recognize that what I do in the world, I still have people not who count on me, but who love me, and I love them. Somebody was asking me, what do you do in order to fill yourself up after giving and giving and giving? And really, I want to be with my family, or at least the family I have now. Shh, don't laugh. And then I also have a sense of this tent and whoever's going to come in it, and those tents in the brick and mortar. And I think we have something that we can learn a little bit about our journeys toward a promised land. So, let's move to our conclusion. 586 in the Siddur, 586 at the very bottom of the page. We'll ask you to rise if you are able.
Alenu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu keguyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo samchel kenu kahem, vegoralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu koreim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נותן שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatuv betorato, verdata hayom, v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha-Elohim, בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת אין עוד.
591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
May be seated. Zichronam levracha. May their memories be for a blessing. If you are observing a yahrzeit, an anniversary of one's death, or if you're in a period of mourning, we will invite you to rise for a moment and share the name of the one whom you're remembering, if you choose. And then we'll continue with additional names from our community. Would anybody like to share a name? Daisy. Would you like to share her name? We also share the names of those within the first 30 days of Shloshim. We remember Rochelle Cohen, the mother of Mark Cohen, Daniel Graham, the brother of Elizabeth Friedman, Doris Schick, the mother of Jennifer Burak, Norma Cohen Friedman, the mother of Carol Forbes, Richard Kramer, the father of Jennifer Kramer and the grandfather of Sam and Jake Rosenbaum. And we remember Adam Guibert, the son of Lynn Lacalci. Those yard sites that we recall for this week that has passed: Victor Alkin, Leonard Bell, Abram Burkhoff, Arthur Bronstein, Jean Ellen Cohen, Molly Collector, John Fitzgerald, Leo Graham, John Hess, Eleanor Howitt, Donald Klein, Florence Levy, Mabel Mack, Fanny Potter, Joan Powell, Ann Miller Richtel, Max Richter, Edith Rosner, Cynthia Hammond Touchstone, Bert Tregub, Herman Warman, Pearl Wexler, Samuel Weiss, Jack Weitzman, Brian Ween, Arthur Young, Suzanne Potansky, Richard Brodkins, Sarah Goldberg, Henry Marks, Angela Brill Thaler. Kaddish is on page 598. We invite you to rise if you are able. 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon v'yom echon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agala u'izman kari v'meru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivarach leolam omeo maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kurisha b'reichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'meru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yemiru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn. Comfort to the bereaved here and everywhere. Let's all say amen. You can be seated. I'm going to ask Elijah and Paulina to come forward for a moment. All right, you have to go on the same side. How you feeling? Good. Are you nervous? You want to do it now? No, okay. Getting to see, even in our small way, you growing up in community here, with your parents and your family's involvement and connections, and thinking about what is it that we're kind of holding up. I think you folks really have this extraordinary opportunity to say, as B'nai Mitzvah, yeah, I have my own flag. And I hope that you, little by little, over the next many years, get to figure out what that flag is going to look like, how your identities as human beings, as individuals, and what gifts you can bring to the world, that you get to recognize that. And I also hope that your family connections continue to grow and those roots become deeper, and the gifts that you receive will become sweeter, and the gifts that you more and more will be bringing to your families will be that much more special. And then to figure out how do you find a way through any of these entrances into the tent, into your Jewish community. That's really our hope for you. We know that tomorrow is going to be special, and there's nothing to be nervous about because nobody performs here. You're going to pray with us. You're going to lead us. You're going to teach us. And it's all good. And we feel, all of us feel blessed just to be able to share in our way with you and with your family. So we have these yads that we share with our students. I think you might have seen these before. Special yad to help you read Torah. If you have more than one, all good. Don't have to use this one unless you don't have another one. Then you have to bring it back. But we're just really happy for you. And we wish you Mazal Tov. And they're going to wish you a Mazal Tov. See, I told you. You can go back to your seats. Oh, challah. Sing.
Let's look at the top of page 643. The top of 643. Asa Einai, we lift our eyes to the mountains. Asa Einai El Harim. Asa Einai El Harim. Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri. Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri. Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri. Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. Esa Einai El Harim.
The last couple of things. First thing you'll do is going to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. And if you don't know your neighbor, introduce yourself, share your name. We'll make a motzi, and then we'll invite everybody. We have an oneg and refreshments for you inside the building. But don't linger in the building. We want to keep everybody as safe as possible, so grab your food. And then we have tables back here, and you can be here in the tent for a little while. And so, Shabbat Shalom to you. We wish your neighbors a Shabbat Shalom. And hopefully we'll see many for Shavuot. And if we can bring our prayer books back to our friends, that will be a great help. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Petei avon. And please, thank you for bringing your sidurim, your prayer books, back to our greeters.